All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to TBN. Sometimes we dance over here. We've gone through a lot of changes on this here stream, but what we do nowadays is news. Yeah, we unpack some news, give some hot takes on some news as it relates to the world of vaping. You know what we do: vaping, tobacco harm reduction, tobacco control, cigarettes, smoking, nicotine, policy, and the such as. I am your host, GrimmGreen, libertarian guy. I desire freedom and bodily autonomy. Now joined by my get a load of this far left fact checker over here, Danielle Jones, socialist probably.
You know how it goes.
Just kidding, Danielle Jones. Danielle Jones joining us again this week from her sweet new digs. She moved.
I moved.
And now you got a big BB-8 in the background, and I love him.
I actually have two. There's another one that you can't see. Wait, I have to get the mirroring down. He's actually like...
Just a dinky guy?
I can't do it. He's down there, basically, but you can't see him. I have a lot of BB-8 things. All those tiny lights, yes. Those are little BB-8s. I have a lot.
As they should be. Yeah, absolutely. Look, BB-8, I'm on board. You can't offend me with too much BB-8 stuff. I'm not going to go, whoa, too much BB-8 stuff. Good Lord.
There's a lot in this office that you can't even see.
Yeah. Lot. See, I noticed you have a Millennium Falcon hanging. I have my original Millennium Falcon like up here on a shelf. Yeah, up there. Yeah.
It's mirrored, so I keep doing the wrong finger. I know. I got to get some like LED lights back there. It's going to get better. It's a work in progress.
No, it looks awesome. But yeah, welcome you guys to the show. We got some newsy stuff that we wanted to talk about today. There's I'm mad at the LA city attorney for this KandyPens lawsuit. It's ridiculous. So we're going to get mad at him. We're going to talk about this weird robbery that happened. There's some other newsy bits in there. We're going to talk about Biden as well and what his administration has recently said about what they're going to do regarding nicotine and or hashtag menthol ban, possibly. Not sure, but we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, welcome you guys. Appreciate you being there. I see you there, Dakota. Appreciate you being here. I guess we'll just jump into some things. It's my favorite time. It's the newsy things. It's the newsy things and the such as. I will never not love that bumper. It's hard. It's impossible to.
It's probably the best bumper that there ever was.
Right on YouTube, just period. Yeah. I definitely agree with you. So I'm going to throw a few things out there. You guys have been here before. If you have, you're going to know Rights for Vapors up there in Canada, and you're going to know tobaccokills.ca. That's the call to action for the nicotine cap and the flavor ban up there in Canada. Shout out to all of my Canadian vapors. Additionally, I mean, obviously, if you're in the United States, I don't have any fancy graphics or anything, but CASA.org. Hi, we talk about CASA.org all the time. We have the president of CASA.org in our midst. It's no big deal. It's whatever, you know. And the American Vaping Association. I mean, SFATA, there's local smoke-free associations. There's, you know, I don't mean to favor Canada so much recently, but they have a nicotine cap and like flavor bans coming. And I've found some Canadian advocacy groups. So just trying to connect some people together, make some things happen. So I actually like using this graphic way better. Flavors save lives rather than tobaccokills.ca.
I mean, also that graphic is cool though, with the lungs and the it's kind of cool.
One side of it's like burning cigarettes, and the other side of it is like branches with fruits on it.
I'm into it. I'm into that graphic. Whoever made that.
Yep, I agree. I'm really into it. Really into it. And speaking of CASA, there's still this Missouri call to action. It's a live call to action that is for HB 517. And this is a really interesting bill. And I don't think I quite understood it like the first few times I put it out there. But it's a really weird bill that parts of me don't want to support. I think we should support it. As vapors, I think we should support it. But there's like this the libertarian streak in me is like, I don't necessarily think this is necessarily a good thing. And so what HB 517 would do is basically prohibit any local government in Missouri from making any laws to regulate the sale of any alternative nicotine products or vapor products. All of those decisions would be left to the state, right?
State, right.
And so...
Except for taxes. They can
except
still
for taxes. And so the idea behind this is it's to, create less confusion, right? So if you have a state like California, and in one city or municipality, there is a flavor ban, but in another neighboring city or municipality, there is not a flavor ban. And then maybe down in this city, there's exorbitant taxes. And they're trying to make it so that the whole state has the same level playing field of laws and regulations throughout the whole state.
Right.
And for nicotine vapor products, I feel like this could be a good thing because it kind of stops the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids methodology of getting flavor bans through. Because what Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids and, the Cancer Action Network, what they do is they go to smaller cities, smaller towns, smaller municipalities where there's not going to be any pushback, and then they get these little flavor bans passed with no fanfare or anything like that. And they start passing these all over the state, and then they can go to the state and say, hey, look at all these flavor bans that we've enacted in your state, and they're really, really successful. There was no pushback. Maybe now we should ban this on a state level.
Right.
So I like that it stops that process. That's a smarmy process. But I don't like the idea of local governments giving up their power to do things to the state. That, the libertarian in me is really bothered by that. And if it was any other subject, like any other thing other than vaping, I would probably be against something like this. Like if they were trying to deal with homeless, California, big deal. LA, big issue in LA. It would be like if we have a local Los Angeles government that's, separated by districts and they're doing something about the homeless population because, they're here and the government's here and the homeless are here and they're doing something. It would be like the state coming in and saying, we're going to do that now from farther away. It's less people making decisions that affect more people.
Right.
It's like this consolidation of power within the state, and I don't like that. I like the idea of local communities being able to govern themselves without the oversight of necessarily the state.
Right.
So that's where the libertarian in me was reading this going, okay. Stop Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids from being so smarmy and maybe this might actually protect flavors.
Right.
Right? It could.
Exactly. And I think with your analogy, I think it kind of depends on the topic, right?
Yes.
Because if you're looking at, for example, the homeless situation in local municipalities, they're going to understand their homeless situation in their area better than the people in the state capital do, right? But when it comes to something that's a bit more complicated and, in my opinion, kind of abstract, like, tobacco control and, bans and smoking and vaping stuff.
Yeah.
Each municipality isn't going to be able to afford to have the expertise of someone in their local, Rando, Menlo Park, California is not going to have somebody who specializes in, quitting smoking or addiction or, whatever kind of, to be able to give guidance. These are regular
right?
Joe people just like, well, I should probably, but at the state level, they may actually have the funds to potentially do some more research and consult some other experts.
Yes.
So that's where I'm more like, I don't necessarily think preemption is always, but I'm not as, obviously I'm not a libertarian because I'm a little less, local rightsy than you are. I'm a little bit more like sometimes and listen, bigger is better.
I'm kind of, that's why I call myself a bad libertarian, because there's a lot of instances where I do the same thing, but it was just really interesting like reading this and like, whoa, why do I feel conflicted about a CASA call to action? Like, what is this triggering in me? So I kind of had to like, why does this bother me? And I guess it's that idea of like consolidating power. It's like the idea of people farther away, fewer people farther away making decisions that affect more people rather than smaller people in local communities,
right.
you know, taking care of their community.
Right.
I don't know. At
the same time,
like power.
I wouldn't want like my local city being able to decide like what prescription drugs are allowed or not.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they don't have the resources or the
Right.
expertise to make those kinds of decisions.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I kind of feel like smoking and vaping is in the same sort of, obviously it's not a drug or a pharmaceutical product.
It's bucket adjacent though.
But yeah, exactly. And so I don't trust, you know, my neighbor who got elected to city council to make decisions.
Necessarily, right.
So that's where I'm like,
but also,
it depends.
I mean, also to play devil's advocate in this situation, if you had a local government and your neighbor down the street was a city councilor, that affords you a smaller environment to be able to talk to them, make a difference, bring up issues, hold them accountable. How do you hold someone accountable who's 400 miles away?
Right.
Who's making decisions?
It's not like we can hold Joe Biden accountable.
Right.
You know, you and me, right? Like, can I
personally
to him,
can't. Right. Exactly. Put Joe on the phone. There's just not a chance, right? It's not a chance. No. Consolidation of power, I don't feel like is really a positive. It's hard for me to come around on that. You know, I'm coming around on a lot of stuff, but man, fewer people making decisions that affect more people. I have a hard time with that.
For me, it depends. It just depends on what it is. It kind of depends.
I get that. You're right. It does kind of depend. It does kind of depend. It does kind of depend. It's a heavily
science-related thing. You know?
Yeah. I definitely get that. And so shifting gears from that to something that is just the weirdest, fishiest thing I've ever read on the internet. That's not entirely true, but man, how weird is this? Would-be robbers beat Yorktown store clerk with a baseball bat, demand Juul pods. Juul pods. So here, this is a really bizarrely interesting story that ultimately just upsets me. There's nothing good that's going to come out of this. We're never going to catch these guys. It's like this was whatever, an isolated incident. And now this headline is out there that says robbers have beaten a store clerk to demand Juul pods. And just reading that headline without even reading the article, it kind of elicits this nicotine users are like these crazed addicts that are going to, you know, beat up a store clerk just to get Juul pods. Like it's so addictive, right? It's kind of like painting vapors as these cigarette smokers never, robbed a convenience store and just stole cigarettes.
Right.
That's a different level, right? That's how this whole thing is being kind of presented. And it makes me insane. Yorktown, Indiana. 2 would-be robbers barge into a Yorktown food mart early in the morning last Thursday and beat the store clerk with a baseball bat. Terrible. While in the hospital, he told Yorktown Police Department Detective Brooke Bernard the culprits demanded Juul pods. So specific. Suspiciously specific that they requested Juul pods. He said that they continuously said, "Give me pods." If he said that that's what they said, how on earth did they arrive at Juul pods? Give me pods? That's kind of Juul pods?
If maybe those are the only kind he sold.
Sure. Give me pods. Give me pods. He elaborated, saying they may have been meaning something like tobacco or nicotine pods. It was probably nicotine pods because tobacco pods don't exist. The detective Brooke Bernard said the whole incident happened in a matter of seconds. Employees at the store said they have served the Yorktown community 24 hours a day, more than a decade. Nothing like this has ever happened before. Of course not. Everybody loves us. This is a convenience. Like after reading this, I want to go to this convenience store. He's like, nobody even steals candy or anything from here, you know? The problem is there is video footage of this, and they interview one of the employees who was there, and he didn't mention anything about pods. When you watch this video, and I'll link it, I guess, if you just want to get mad, You can see these two guys. They barge in. They know exactly where they're going. They go right around the corner. The first thing they do is beat this poor guy with a baseball bat. It's horrible to watch. Horrible to watch. The second thing they do is go for the cash register. The third thing they do is run. That's a matter of seconds. That's absolutely everything that happened. Somewhere in the shuffle, maybe they yelled, "Give me pods." But when you see the video and you see the first thing they do is go for the cash register, and then when they interview the guy that was working there and he says, well, yeah, they came in, they beat this guy and they went for the cash register and they didn't get anything and they ran away.
Well, wait, is that the first one or the second one? Because it said that the two guys from the Juul pod incident picked up a third guy and then robbed another business where they had surveillance footage.
This video is only two guys. There's not a third guy.
Oh, it's only two? Okay.
I believe this is the footage from the first Yorktown. And you can watch the video and you can see them run in and beat this guy and try to jam on the thing, and they can't get anything out of it. Whatever. So maybe they yelled, "Give me pods." And they say in the video, oh, one man came in with a bat. One man came in with a large bag. I'm assuming that's a bag for the money, or if they really were there for pods, that's black market, right?
I mean,
that's for resale on the black market.
I don't really know what exactly happened here or what didn't, but if it happened the way that they said that it happened, to me that says, look, black markets and crime increase when you try to prohibit things, which is why prohibition never works.
Absolutely.
Look at it go.
Absolutely.
Would you like to increase crime? Would you like to increase, people doing black market things? Because this is how you do it. If those were, if everything were available and affordable, you wouldn't probably have as much of this sort of thing. I mean, obviously, some people are always not going to be able to afford things and want to try to steal them. You can't eliminate everything. But it's probably going to drastically go down if everything is affordable and easy to access. I mean...
Yeah, it's going to go down. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's kind of what the narrative of this should be, rather than trying to paint Juul and vapors in this horrible, we're criminals, we're going to rob your convenience store for Juul pods. And they talk about, how addictive nicotine is. And he yelled, give me the pods. See, without that one sentence, this is just a robbery.
A normal robbery.
That would not be on the news. I've lived near convenience stores that have gotten robbed, and that was not on the news in small towns, and it was not on the news. This would have not been on the news without "give me pods." 3 words, "give me pods," which became these robbers broke into the store, beat this guy with a baseball bat, and demanded Juul pods. Come on, Fox 59 in Indiana.
Yeah.
I hate it, and it's just weird. And the thing is, here's the thing. Like I said, there's going to be no resolution to this. I don't know, other than if we could do some investigating, don't fuck with cats level human, track these people down, get an interview with them.
Enhance.
Yeah, see, why did you rob this store? Was it to get Juul pods? Unless we can get that smoking gun, then this doesn't ultimately matter. And there's literally nothing we can do about it. They won't ever correct it. They won't ever change it. And now this headline is just floating out there.
Right.
Just floating out there. And if you're a non, if you're on the anti side of vaping or whatever, a prohibitionist person, and this is just going to further entrench you in your own views, and you're going to use it later and go, oh, I remember I read that story where they beat that man with a baseball bat for Juul pods. That's how it'll end up getting told, person to person. I heard that story. Did you hear that story too? I heard vapors beat up a guy for Juul pods with a baseball bat.
Right. And instead of, so they focus on demonizing people rather than considering the fact that,
what caused
if
this?
These things were affordable and accessible, you probably wouldn't have people, robbing. Think about, I don't know, gas station sandwiches, right? Sure. They're everywhere. They're pretty cheap, the quality. But it's food that you can, likely afford. Maybe not everybody, but likely. Sure. Is there a huge, sandwich bandit ring out there?
Right.
No, there's not. Because you don't need to steal it. You don't need, I mean, some people do, but for the most part, there's not some huge black market demand for sandwiches
for gas
because
station
they're readily available and fairly affordable.
Exactly. Absolutely. And that's what happens, and as far as I know, Indiana has some pretty burdensome taxes on vapor products.
Oh, man. Yeah, I remember they're the ones that had all the crazy restrictions for the manufacturers, right? It got real weird for a while.
Manufacturer restrictions and crazy taxes. And look, I don't know if that contributed to it, but something did. And if you go, I mean, they were either just robbing it for money or they were robbing it to get money. And then while they were there, let's get some pods while we're here. Or
I mean, that is also entirely possible. Like if I'm going to rob a place, and I'm robbing it, and then I'm like, I actually need some tampons too while I'm here. I might start yelling like, give me the tampons. You know what I mean? Because they're there. I'm here already. I'm already stealing.
I'm already stealing. I'm already committing crimes. Give me some tampons too.
2 birds, 1 stone. And I'm not trying to make light of this situation to anybody because a man was very badly hurt.
And that's horrible.
Yes,
horrible.
It is. Absolutely.
It's horrible to watch. This guy just walks in with a steel bat, hits this poor guy who's just sitting there. The guy's just...
and that is absolutely unacceptable.
Unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. Give me pods. Give me pods. I'll post a link down in the description. You should watch the video. Honestly, you should watch the video because you'll see the same thing. You'll see the guy, what he says. You'll see the whole footage, and then you go, what? So specific that they ask for Juul pods. Now... turning our attention to Los Angeles, I apologize to any international viewers here today. We're really focusing on the U.S. and California more than anything today. Speaking of bad reporting, that wasn't a segue, CBS Los Angeles. I have issues with CBS Los Angeles. Vaping company KandyPens ordered to pay $1.2 million for allegedly marketing advertising to young consumers. This is... California-based vaping company KandyPens was ordered to stop targeting youth in its marketing and pay $1.2 million for past violations. Los Angeles County City Attorney Mike Fuhrer said. Fuhrer's office had sued KandyPens in 2018 for marketing its devices and e-liquids at young people through social media and by placing their products in music videos featuring artists like DJ Khaled and Justin Bieber. Tobacco products, including flavored e-liquids, hook kids and pose a threat to their health, Fuhrer said in a statement. The message from this victory to the vaping industry is clear. Do not sell or market to kids. We will hold you accountable. Shocking stuff here, KandyPens. The lawsuit alleged that KandyPens targeted young consumers on YouTube and Instagram and did not restrict access to its social media advertisements to people 21 and over, and paid to get their products into music videos of artists who have large followings of young people in violation of the state's unfair competition law and the Stop Tobacco Access to Kids Enforcement, or STAKE Act, and Prop 65. An investigator with the city attorney's office was able to purchase tobacco products from KandyPens' website while posing as a teenage customer using a fake email account and a prepaid gift card. Fuhrer alleges that the company did not ask for date of birth or verify the age of the consumer in violation of the STAKE Act. An investigator, that's unbelievable, with the city's attorney's office, went to the KandyPens website and bought tobacco products. And KandyPens was sued for marketing its e-liquids to young people. That's kind of unbelievable, especially considering the fact that KandyPens exclusively sells THC products. KandyPens has never sold a nicotine product. All they make and sell and distribute are THC products. It has nothing to do with tobacco, nothing to do with nicotine. There's no way that an investigator purchased a tobacco product from the KandyPens website because they do not sell tobacco products. And 0.2 seconds on Google can kind of show you this. If you go to the KandyPens website or look up literally anything about KandyPens, and you'll see exactly what it is. Exclusively THC products. And CBS, we can easily get mad at and tweet at, which I would love you to do. I'll put a link in the description, and you can tweet at CBS LA and ask them to correct this article, because they talk about tobacco products, including flavored e-liquids, hook kids. KandyPens doesn't sell tobacco products. KandyPens doesn't sell flavored e-liquids. This is Ivali level conflating of issues.
Like, I don't even understand. Like, I hope this wasn't in the lawsuit, because I would think KandyPens would have won that lawsuit. Like, that's bro, we don't sell that. Like,
so the law, it hasn't happened yet. All that they've been done is ordered to pay $1.2 million for allegedly marketing and advertising to young consumers. And Mark, city attorney, what's his name? Fuhrer. Mark Fuhrer? Mm-hmm. Mark? Is his name Mark? If his name's not Mark, I'm going to feel like an idiot. Mark Fuhrer? Mike. Okay, see, I feel like an idiot. Mike Fuhrer. Does Mike Fuhrer know the difference between THC vapes and nicotine vapes? Does he know the difference between those two things?
I don't think so.
I don't know, because in the days leading up to this tweet, where he said KandyPen vapes also paid for product placement in music videos of artists with large youth followings like Justin Bieber and Nickelodeon's 2019 Kids' Choice Award host DJ Khaled. Mike Fuhrer announcing a $1.2 million penalty against KandyPens for allegedly marketing to kids on the basis that these tobacco products hook kids and their flavored e-liquids hook kids.
Also, pointing out that DJ Khaled hosted a Nickelodeon awards show.
Useless.
DJ Khaled is an adult that does adult things. You don't just get to look at the fact that he was a host of a Nickelodeon show
and could Google right now.
Therefore, all his content is for children.
All his content is children friendly.
At the music videos, do you see what the women are or are not wearing? These are not for children. Okay?
You could find pictures on the internet right now, probably, of DJ Khaled with at least 5 to 6 topless women. No questions asked. You could find that easily.
That's not Nickelodeon, okay?
That's not Nickelodeon.
That's not related to his brand, okay? Calm down a little bit now.
Nickelodeon's 2019. Can you believe the audacity? But he stoked the fires in the days leading up to this big tweet, this big announcement. Mike Fuhrer, the LA city attorney, was posting things like this. 10 a.m. Monday news conference, city attorney Mike Fuhrer to announce injunction plus a financial penalty against California Vape we allege was marketing to kids, with literal renderings of 3 milligram.
Yeah, those aren't even real.
No. KandyPens has never sold this product ever.
I feel like they got that off freepix.com or something.
Yeah, what I mean? It's completely misleading. Vape against California Vape we allege was marketing to kids. No mention of what was being vaped. Now, this is, we were chanting it during Ivali. Vaping is a verb. Mm-hmm. What you're vaping really, really matters.
Right.
Leading up to it, the vape industry has taken a page out of Big Tobacco's old playbook by marketing these addictive, harmful products to kids. We're doing all we can to stop it. News conference Monday at 10. Keeping in mind, the news conference was about the THC company KandyPens, not any nicotine e-liquid company, but what's pictured here. More e-liquid bottles, more nicotine vapes, more pieces of chocolate, kiwi, and papaya.
Is that papaya?
I think
it's
that
like a limp banana.
The big one is a papaya. I'm not 100%
They need
sure.
a better I don't know my tropical.
Service. I don't know my tropical. That's really bad, isn't it? Those e-liquid bottles look like a pain in the ass. Times 1,000.
They're on freestock.com.
Free stock.
Not good. At least throw them $50 for Shutterstock. Come on.
Look, I'll take some photos for them if they want to pay me. But wait, there's more. He continues, 15 minutes away, same picture. Our fight to protect kids from vape companies that target them comes full circle, announcing a new injunction and penalties streaming here. So for days leading up to this, Mike Fuhrer, the LA city attorney, was stoking the misinformation of saying vapes and showing e-liquid, but really he was talking about KandyPens, which has never sold nicotine and never sold e-liquid.
Not a tobacco product.
Not a tobacco product. Is he ignorant and really doesn't know the difference? Is he... I can't be so cynical to think that the LA city attorney is being maliciously misinforming people. I can't be that cynical, but it feels like CDC EVALI level misinformation.
I mean...
This is nothing but conflating cannabis again, THC again, to nicotine vapes, and they're not even trying to hide it. Those are e-liquid bottles.
Yes.
You go into
and they literally keep saying a tobacco product.
Tobacco product.
Cannabis vape is not a tobacco product.
Not a tobacco product. They said in the article, oh, our agent went and bought tobacco products. He's like, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't. You bought cannabis products.
And
that's what you bought.
Even if KandyPens, you think they were marketing to kids by having DJ Khaled, who's definitely kid-friendly. Very kid-friendly content. Very kid-friendly content. Showing pictures of e-liquid bottles. If you go into a dispensary where you can buy KandyPen stuff, you will not see anything that looks like this. Those just don't exist in a dispensary. Maybe the bottles, sure, tinctures, but not one that says watermelon 3 milligram vape liquid. 3 milligrams of what? THC? CBD? Nicotine? Who knows? We're being real vague because we just keep saying vape and not telling you what anybody's vaping. I can't stand this. And so I've kind of made it, it's my personal vendetta now against the LA city attorney, Mike Fuhrer. He has to know that he's wrong. It's important to me that he knows exactly what he has to know, Danielle Jones.
I don't know, man. I honestly kind of think maybe he doesn't, and this is going to be an epic, embarrassing takedown. Like, I'm kind of like, I want this to get like full coverage in the news, and then KandyPens to like go up on the stand and be like, we don't make tobacco products. And then the judge to be like, wait, what? And then all the attorneys on the prosecution side start shuffling their papers like, I thought you said it was e-liquid. Did you say it was the vape juice?
You said vape juice. All you said was vape juice.
And then the entire gallery breaks out laughing.
Yeah.
And then they are shamed for life. I think that would be hysterical.
And then we put Mike Fuhrer in a rocket like in the Man of Steel and just shoot him into space. No, maybe not that. That would be really too deliciously satisfying to happen. But I think we need to put the pressure on. I'm going to put the pressure on Mike hard. I'm going to be a thorn in Mike's side. He cannot get away with conflating these issues. I cannot let him get away with conflating those issues because it is blatant. That is blatant conflation of issues. KandyPens. All you have to do is type KandyPens into Google. You don't even have to click anything. And just the little thing that comes up for KandyPens says like premier adult THC brand, it doesn't say anything about flavored nicotine or there's no bottles with googly eyes on it. And, there's no Rick and Morty or SpongeBob e-liquids. It's none of that. It's literally just weed. And you think it's tobacco and you're the city attorney.
California, by the way.
In California.
Should you not know the difference? I feel like California and Colorado should know the difference specifically, since they're like the woke states who are like
we're woke.
Stuff.
We're woke and we're legalizing it, except
we don't know what it is.
We don't know what it is. We don't know what KandyPens is. KandyPens, what do they do? Vape stuff? Okay. People just hear the word vape, and it's one of those like, they must be marketing to kids. You just hear the word.
Exactly. They're just
vape.
Like, evil.
Marketing to
Tobacco
kids.
Tobacco 2.0.
Yeah. It's infuriating. So it's whatever. I'll put a link down in the description to both CBS Los Angeles so we can get mad at them to correct this article. But I think I'd like to go after the city attorney because I don't think he's had like people on Twitter really Twitter at him and combat misinformation directly to his face. And I want to do that. And I'm going to do that. And I would hope that everybody would join me. So I'm going to post a link down in the description to his Twitter and that article. And you can go look at KandyPens for yourself. You can. Let's say, I think there were a few super chats that came in. I apologize. I completely missed those. Sexy King Phil, EOUA to you, my man. Rage Sweat, activated. I know, but we're about to be real chill. Tyler B, rage sweat dripping, truth butter churning. That I promise that's churning butter motions. New Wave Dave, I bet they had glowing green eyes. They did. The robbers that came in to the store for the Juul pods, glowing green mind control menace eyes. In the Marvel universe, that's how you know someone's vaping. Glowing green eyes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they definitely did. I could see it in the security footage. Tribal Buddha, Maynard James Keenan said it best in the song Anemia. Here is this hopeless effing hole we call LA. The only way to fix it is to flush it all away. Yeah, I love that. Actually, I love LA, and I would still get that framed on my wall because I have such mixed feelings about LA because I love it so much, but it's also mostly crappy. You know, it's kind of cruddy most of the time, but I love it. And I don't know why. So what we're going to do in about 20 minutes is discuss cannabis harm reduction. But in the meantime, who's on the thumbnail? It's Biden. Let's get to, it's the main thing. Yeah, it's the main thing.
I really like that bumper. I mean, it's tied for me with the Newsy one.
I
and
know.
This one.
These are good
this one's
bumpers. It's like real, like, yeah. Really get you in the mood. It's like, all right, here's the main thing. The main thing today is our commander-in-chief, Joe Biden, his administration has... was this a press release or something? All I've seen is like weighed in or communicated or things like this.
It came from the Wall Street Journal, and apparently it was an exclusive from an anonymous source that the Wall Street Journal did not identify.
Right.
So what we have to understand is this is a lot of like, the Biden administration is reportedly weighing conditions.
Yes.
So this is like supposedly from a source. They say that this is happening.
Right.
Now we still should talk about it because it matters. I mean, I could entirely believe. I'm not questioning whether or not this is true, but it is it's very early, basically. So this is, reports. People are saying that he is considering doing this.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yeah. So really not much, not much.
It's
early.
A
little. It's a little, but it's not much. But if we go over here to Business Insider, so we don't have to subscribe to the Wall Street Journal, they say the White House, mulling. I've heard announcing, mulling, communicating, reportedly weighing. It's like, okay, how many different ways can you say thinking about? The White House is mulling sweeping changes to government tobacco rules, the Wall Street Journal reported Monday, citing unnamed people familiar with the matter. Anonymous sources. Again, anonymous sources. The Biden administration may compel tobacco and cigarette companies to slash the amount of nicotine in cigarettes sold in the U.S. to levels that are less addictive, the paper said, adding that a ban on menthol cigarettes is also being considered. For the record, I don't think a menthol ban is going to be as successful as they want it to be. I think a menthol ban is still too far away. I don't think they're going to accomplish a nationwide menthol ban anytime soon. That's just my 2 cents. Danielle?
I mean, I do not doubt that they may try. Let me put it that way.
I think they're going to try, but I don't think it's going to be successful. Menthol bans are not a successful thing. And also, what is compel? The Biden administration may compel tobacco and cigarette companies?
Yeah, I'm a little confused because FDA is the one that sets these rules, if I'm not mistaken, and the chain of command.
Right.
So and the only way I'm foreseeing this is the Biden administration goes to the FDA commissioner and says, "Hi, bro, I would really prefer you to do this because I appointed you and shit."
Right.
And so then the FDA goes, "Oh, we're going to make regulations." And then they, I don't know this for certain, but I would venture a guess that Biden can't just put out an executive order for that kind of thing. There's a protocol that goes through FDA, I believe. So I'm a little confused about exactly, what they mean by that. But my guess is that he would strongly encourage the FDA to do it. unless there's something I'm missing. But
strongly encourage. I guess that's a good way to put it. Compel. I mean, if he wanted to, I don't know. I don't know. Why am I encouraging more government power? But couldn't Biden just executive order this?
I don't think so.
I don't approve of that, but I feel like it's something he could do.
I feel like it's not. I think that it would have to be Congress or it would have to be the FDA.
Good. Well,
I'm not 100% on that, but I feel like a good 80 on that. I feel like that's right.
Of course, shares of major tobacco companies fell sharply during this post from the Wall Street Journal. The goal of a ban on menthol cigarettes would be to curb smoking among young people. The majority of people aged 12 to 17 who smoke use menthol cigarettes, according to the Centers for Disease Control. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has said it will decide whether to take action on menthol cigarettes by April 29th, following a civil petition that was filed several years ago. And again, this just goes back to like the FDA, the government, it all is just a big, slow moving just mass that has no motivation to be efficient in any way. FDA is responding in a few days to something that was filed years ago. Years ago.
Yep.
Unbelievable. If the government was your employee, you'd fire them. You'd be like, you haven't got back to me in
years.
You haven't got back to me in 14 years. Like, I mean, vaping's been on the market 14 years. FDA still hasn't regulated it. Sounds about right? Yeah. Thanks, FDA, that slow-moving government machine. Several years ago. So here's the most interesting part of this, I think. They say by drastically reducing the overall levels of nicotine in cigarettes, the administration aims to make them less addictive. Okay, I'm going to pause there. What are your thoughts, Danielle? Because I have my own thoughts on very low nicotine cigarettes. What do you think of very low nicotine cigarettes? Go.
Generally, I don't really think it's so complicated.
It is complicated.
I personally think that very low nicotine is kind of silly. I think this is another like Band-Aid that tobacco control thinks will like fix things.
Yeah.
My gut reaction is that if you lower the amount of nicotine in cigarettes, what's to stop people from just smoking more?
Right.
I mean, absolutely. There's that. That's an argument that's been made. But the other part of this is, if you really get into the science, it's not just the nicotine that creates this tobacco, or rather dependence. I don't like calling it addiction. But it's actually a combination of nicotine and several other chemicals in tobacco cigarettes, acetaldehyde, MAOIs, that they believe actually creates a more severe dependence. Nicotine by itself, like just as its own factor, does not have very strong reinforcing properties. And I've talked about this, ad nauseum, basically. But so in my opinion, if they're just lowering the nicotine and they're not addressing those other chemicals,
then it's kind of right.
Is it even really going to do anything? I feel like legislators and lawmakers just like the sound of, oh yeah, nicotine's bad. Let's lower it,
cigarettes, right? Yeah.
Without actually understanding the science of how this works, and the fact that, again, like, why are you trying to tell people? Okay, I don't like this for a lot of reasons. I don't necessarily think it's going to work. I don't think it's an evidence-based approach. And I don't think that you should be mandating what people are and aren't allowed to do.
Right. Okay. Wow. What's up, libertarian? Look, I agree with you. I'm not a huge fan of this. Very low nicotine cigarettes. My first thought was people will just smoke more. I've said that before. People will just smoke more to get the nicotine they want. Or they will just give up. And they'll go, I can't get the nicotine. I think they think that people will just give up and go, I can't get the nicotine I want. I'm not addicted anymore. That's not reality.
That's not really how that works.
That's not reality. That's just straight up not reality. So I got into a heated discussion with a guy on Twitter about this very subject, and he dropped me off science that is in favor of very low nicotine cigarettes, showing that over a certain amount of time with a certain amount of population, the smoking rates do go down as people lose interest or move to lower nicotine. but really you can lower people's nicotine through vaping and take combustion completely out of the question, completely out of the equation.
Right.
Also keeping in mind that this is from an anonymous source, but it says by drastically reducing the overall levels of nicotine in cigarettes, the administration aims to make them less addictive and promote less dangerous alternatives like lozenges or e-cigarettes, according to the journal.
Okay, now that part I'm interested in.
Right?
Say
those two things hand in hand dramatically reduce the overall levels of nicotine in cigarettes and actively promote less dangerous alternatives like lozenges or e-cigarettes. It's there in black and white.
I mean, if Biden wants to promote vaping, I'm a lot more interested in talking about this. I still think very low nicotine cigarettes are kind of dumb, but if you're going to promote vaping, I might not care. You know what I mean? Like, I might be like, oh, okay, well, I mean, there's still also, what if, like, I don't know, man, because what about the black market? What if there's some person who's like, I'm going to make very high nicotine cigarettes in my basement.
Exactly.
And try to, like, I worry about some things
there are unintended consequences. Exactly like that. That's what I was thinking. And that's what I think of every time I think of a menthol ban. I think the demand is way too high for menthol cigarettes. Yep. And if you ban them, welcome to a enormous, possibly dangerous black market of people mentholating their own cigarettes and reselling them on the black market. I mean,
what are they going to pour on those?
Do not fuck around with menthol crystals. They are not, I mean, that is like a...
I know it's very dangerous. I use them in soap.
Dangerous.
Like you can like, chemical type burns. Like you can really irritate your body if you put like there's very specific, only 1% usage in like a lotion or, not lip safe or, this is terrible. Like I could see people dipping cigarettes in like Vicks vapor rub and selling them to people. Right. And like, menthol. No. Do not do these things. Like
that's one of the big, like, I don't think a menthol ban could ever happen. I don't think bans are a good idea in general. Bans are
menthol bans are bad. High or regular nicotine cigarettes banning is bad. Like stop banning things. Yep. Stop acting like that solves problems because it totes doesn't.
The White House did not immediately return insiders' request for comment. The FDA spokesperson also declined to comment. Nicotine is the addictive component in tobacco products, but it's not what makes them deadly, according to the FDA. It's a mix of chemicals found in cigarettes that cause serious lung injuries like cancer and COPD. According to U.S. FDA, tobacco causes more than 480,000 deaths each year. It increases the risk of stroke and is the major cause of cardiovascular disease and accounts for 1 in 3 cancer deaths in the United States. I didn't know that. That was shocking information to me. I like this idea of very low nicotine cigarettes. I don't like the idea of very low nicotine cigarettes, but I like the idea of very low nicotine cigarettes in combination with less harmful alternatives like lozenges or e-cigarettes. I think that could be a winning public health strategy. And you can't help read this, but be reminded about Scott Gottlieb, right? Statement from FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb. Pivotal public health step to dramatically reduce smoking rates by lowering nicotine in combustible cigarettes to minimally or non-addictive levels. This is from a 2018 FDA Scott Gottlieb press release where he basically laid out kind of like it's like a hypothetical tobacco framework. That's the only way I can describe it. It's like, here's what we could do, and here's what would be the results if we implement this. And what he suggests is, apart from very low nicotine cigarettes, he recommends lower harm alternatives like lozenges and e-cigarettes. Reading through this Scott Gottlieb press release, it feels like the Biden administration is just taking this press release and going, this and everything on here, let's do everything on here.
I mean,
which, if that is the case, Scott Gottlieb makes a firm foot in the ground for tobacco harm reduction and less harmful alternatives like e-cigarettes. And so I feel like that was in 2018 that they first started talking about this. Now here we are in 2021, a few years later, and now there's rumblings of this inside the Biden administration. So I feel like by the end of the year, we might even get something a little bit more concrete as far as, are we going to go down this very low nicotine cigarette path while also promoting less harmful alternatives like e-cigarettes?
Like, I could see less unintended consequences if at the same time that you lower nicotine levels in cigarettes, which I still think is silly, but okay, fine. If you're going to do it, if you are convinced, but you also promote vaping and higher nicotine levels of vaping, like you don't, like, basically, if people still want high levels of nicotine, you need to give them a safer alternative. Like, if you're going to lower where they're usually getting it, you need to create a pathway for them to get it, like from vaping. You need to preserve like 24 milligram vaping or higher and allow them a safer alternative to continue that if that's what they want.
Yes.
Black markets come up when you cut off the supply of something that has way too high of a demand and there is no other option, right?
Yep.
But if we're channeling people to other options, I feel less weird about it. I still think it's dumb.
I still think it's super dumb. If
they want to promote vaping, which I'm highly skeptical of that tiny little statement in that article, I'm like,
one tiny statement from an anonymous source, like, it's such the faintest little string.
I know. I'm like I have like kicked puppy syndrome. I'm like, I don't know if I trust that.
I don't know if I trust that either. I'm flinching away, actively flinching away from it, flinching away. But just seeing it written, I mean, this is from the Wall Street Journal. So this isn't, whatever, the Sun, right? This is a reputable, news outlet.
True enough, yeah.
Granted, this came from an anonymous source, but that does say promote less harmful alternatives like lozenges and e-cigarettes. Says it. Says it. I think it would be peak 2021 if it was somehow the Biden administration that whipped FDA into shape and finally promoted vaping.
Oh my God. How insane would that be?
I would feel like my world is turned upside down. I'd go, well, I don't know shit anymore.
It would be insane.
It would be insane. It would turn the world upside down. I wouldn't even know what to do.
And once and for all, everybody would stop having to be so partisan, okay? Yeah. All the people in chat, like, oh, fuck the Democrats. I see you. And if Biden does that, you better stick that foot right in your mouth. Okay? It's not partisan. It's not.
Yeah, here's the thing. And this is something I said constantly. The attack on vaping is completely bipartisan.
Yes, it is.
Completely and utterly bipartisan. So there's no reason why our response back has to be bipartisan. That is ridiculous. We're squandering our efforts if we're concerned with ideologies. That's goofy. You need to appeal to whoever's in charge. When Trump was in charge, absolutely. I'll go be his best friend and I'll email him and I will light up those White House phone lines and I will do whatever's necessary. Exactly. And if there's like an FDA open comment, very low nicotine cigarettes and e-cigarettes, you can bet your ass I'll comment on that too. So yeah, that's the main thing. A little weird little glimmer of something that felt a little bit like hope for a second. And I don't know because it's just this unnamed anonymous source.
I don't trust it.
I can't not trust it a little bit.
I mean,
like I have to flinch back, but there's a little bit of me. It's like, all right, here, don't fuck this up.
I'm like watching with my eyebrow up. I'm like, what
are
you doing?
It's a very skeptical.
What are you doing?
It's like this cautious optimism. I like to call it cautious optimism.
Attention.
Right.
What's happening?
So interesting. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but should be very interesting. I'll post a link down in the description. How are we on time? Oh, dude, it's 4:24. That's crazy. Well, happy 420, everybody. I was going to spend a little bit of time consuming some cannabis and talking about harm reduction in cannabis, because this is kind of something we were talking about earlier, too, with the little vape pen cartridges. There's a lot of different ways to consume cannabis. And just a show of hands in the chat, you don't have to out yourself if you don't want to. If you consume cannabis, make yourself known, because that's what I'm going to be talking about for maybe the next 20 minutes. I'm not going to not have some on 420, right around 420 on 420. Like, that's ridiculous. Of course I am. I have a weakness with cannabis in that I really enjoy combusting it. It's my favorite. Ask my friends, ask my patrons. it's my favorite. It's my weakness. It's really hard for me to turn down a joint. I mean, I can turn down cigarettes all day. I don't even care. I'll go buy a pack of cigarettes, just break them. I don't care. Throw them away. Not tempted at all by cigarettes, but the idea of combusting a joint, I can't. It's hard for me. It's hard for me. So, in an effort to reduce the harm in my life and not smoke so many bowls and smoke so many joints, I try to vaporize my cannabis, and I've tried a bunch of different products to do it. And some of them work a little bit better than others. Some of them don't really. Senor Taco, I see you there, Bill. That's the mood I'm going for. Today, we're going for Bill. Can I share this picture, Bill? It's really the funniest thing. Yep, here we go. Sorry, Bill. This is the vibe we're going for today. This is Sleepin' Bill. Okay, Bill, I'll get rid of that. This is one of my favorite people on earth. That's Bill. And that was from a Yo-Yo Patron stream, and I was like, that's my vibe. I want that vibe. I want the Bill vibe. That's the vibe I'm going for today. So vaporizing actual ground-up cannabis flower has been happening for a really, really long time. One of the biggest out there for personal vaporizing is the Dynavap. Have you ever seen one of these little jammers?
Yes, I have.
These are rad as hell. They're not crazy expensive, and when Dynavap... so Dynavap approached me a few years ago about doing some sponsorshipy stuff. And I was like, well, I really only do like vape and nicotine stuff. I don't really dabble into like the cannabis THC space or anything like that. And they came back to me and said, oh, well, that's fine. Because when we first started this company, these were for tobacco anyway. These were never intended to be used with cannabis. They just happened to work with cannabis. And that's where the majority of our customers come from. But the idea was that you could scoop some tobacco in here. You put this little cap on. Look, it's 420. I'll just demonstrate. You put this little cap on, and you basically... I'm going to do it off camera.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, because YouTube, right?
I don't know. I don't know what YouTube...
I feel like they might come down from the clouds and smash us or something.
Yeah, like smash us. So you load up the tip. It's just a little bit with your material. You're not combusting it, and then you take one of these cooking torches, and all you do is you heat it up and you kind of rotate it around. There's a mechanical little mechanism on the cap that's this. It looks like a pen cap, and you'll hear it go, it like click, and then you're done. And so you just grab it and drag on it, and you're getting the vaporized terpenes and the vaporized THC and the vaporized everything with no combustion. And when you dump it out, it just looks like a little brown, I don't know. It just looks like dirt. Yeah, it just looks like brown, like cooked vegetables or something. Just it's just brown. It's incredible. There's no combustion. And look, I'm not going to tell anybody how to use their cannabis, but your cannabis goes a lot longer, goes a lot further with vaporizing it than it does with combusting it, because when you combust it, that's it. You combust it, and that's it, and it's gone.
Toast.
It's burnt. You inhaled everything, including the paper, including the everything. You inhaled all of it, right? But with vaporizing...
Oh, you're on camera, though. Are you not supposed to be on camera?
That's it. Didn't see anything come out.
I didn't even see anything.
But I felt it, and I tasted it.
Okay.
And you still get the effects. Sometimes, depending on your temperature, you'll inhale or exhale less vapor, more vapor. You can take it a little bit hotter. You can kind of adjust it to however you want it. You can take a Dynavap too far and just end up lighting the thing on fire and just smoking a tiny little joint. But you can get multiple, what they call sessions out of just a little bit of cannabis. I take a little bud and I grind it up, and I can get 2. So let me show you this. I don't know why I have this here and plugged in. I was thinking I'll make a bag, but that's ridiculous. This is the Stores and Bickle Volcano. This is the original cannabis vaporizing system, harm reduction cannabis vaporizing system that exists. I tried to describe it to someone on Twitter, and I said, imagine like a giant desktop plug-in DNA 500 that you can control the temperature on with the little digits. And then there's a fan in here that blows hot air through your material and into a large heat-proof bag. And so it's the same idea. You're just like warming off. You're basically vaporizing off all of the terpenes, all of the CBD, all of the cannabinoids into vapor form, and it collects it in a bag, and you kind of just inhale out of this bag, and it's this, like, you can control the temperature, so it can be as warm or as cool as you want it to be. It's this really delightful, really flavorful experience when you vaporize cannabis. Apart from getting longer life out of your flower, it tastes way better because it's not burning, right? There's no ashy, like gross, smoky sort of flavor or anything like that. You get kind of like, it feels like warm, turkey bags for the wins, Bill Taco. I know, Senior Taco. Turkey bags, and it's just really delightful, really flavorful. It honestly feels better. I noticed that back in the day, if I smoked a bunch of joints, I would feel it hard, and it was gross. Vaporizing it with the Volcano, no issues. It's amazing. It's flavorful. You still cough because I think that's just a rule with weed, isn't it? You just have to cough. I've heard it's a rule.
I remember people telling me, like, if you cough, it gets you higher or something. I don't know if that's a wives' tale.
Yeah, that's just an old wives' tale. Yeah, that's just an old wives' tale. I don't think I'm going to make a bag on camera, but that's how it works.
No.
The bag is this big thing. It's this big thing, right? It's this big thing. Here, I'll do a demonstration. You want me to do a demonstration?
I think that you should do a demonstration. I don't know about chat, but I want to see
So the Volcano's right here, right?
Yeah.
I have it set to 410 degrees just because that's the temperature that I like. I find it's a little bit warm. I still get some good flavor, and you get a little bit more dense of like a vapor, experience. And so you have this little, we call it a cauldron. It's mesh on the bottom. It's cute. It's metal, so it heats up and gets really, really warm. But then you can take your material, whatever it is, whatever you want to vaporize, can be pipe tobacco. You could vaporize pipe tobacco, sure.
Yeah.
Scoop some in. Doesn't take much. Like I said, it's like just 2 little scoops, like 2 little coffee scoops of material, of flour. And then you have this little mesh screen that kind of goes on top. It's like a little French press. You know how French press has the mesh screen? Same idea. Little French press goes on there. And then you take this bag. I'm going to have to hold this up. Oh, that's right. This needs to warm up.
This is going to look like a hot air balloon. I'm pretty excited.
It is.
You guys, I'm really excited to see this.
It is. It definitely is. I got to let this heat up for just a quick second, though.
Now, have we discussed, maybe everybody else knows this already, but is everybody familiar with vaporizing from solids, which is what heat not burn is, versus vaporizing from liquids, which is what nicotine vaping does?
Absolutely.
They are both, they're both not combustion, but one is done from a solid, like dry herb or tobacco or even IQOS, for example.
IQOS works on this same exact premise.
So heat not burn versus what we consider to be like vaporization from an e-liquid. It's both harm reduction-y things. I just want to throw that out there for anybody in the back who's like, what?
Look, it's the same idea. And this is the conclusion that I've come to just in being who I am and being in this space. It always comes back to combustion is the enemy. In cigarette smoke, combustion is the enemy. In pollution, combustion is the enemy. Combustion is always the enemy. If you can continue an activity and avoid any combustion,
automatically better.
Automatically better. Instantly, categorically better for you. Instantly, categorically better for you. So this has been warming up, and it clips on to the little canister, right?
Wait, is there a hole in the top, or is it like a balloon and it's closed?
It'll fill up.
Oh my! I'm so excited.
It's pretty exciting.
I'm really excited.
I'm not gonna crank out a whole bag right now because that's gonna ruin the stream. We will ruin the stream. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll have to
we won't ruin the stream. We might end up streaming for like another 3 hours because I'm gonna get so talkative.
It might be the best stream ever.
It could be. It could be pure magic. Like if you were here, TBN 420, it's the best stream you ever saw. So now that this is to temperature, I can push the button and it's going to sound You're going to hear it. It's going to sound like a fan just kicked on. It's going to every Volcano owner knows the sound of it kicking on and then the sound of the crinkly bag.
Ooh, okay.
The heat-proof bags, like these are turkey bags that you get from Reynolds. You put these in the oven, right? They're meant to hold up the to the heat.
Has anyone ever used a turkey bag on a turkey before?
I have never. I've only used it on a Volcano.
Like, who's actually using turkey bags for turkeys?
Have you ever cooked a turkey before?
Your turkey in plastic? I feel like that's weird.
Here's the thing. It's heat resistant. I don't know. So I'm going to turn this on. Let me turn this on. Okay. I'm not going to fill up this whole bag. You can make this just the Hindenburg. It can be gigantic,
for like 50
right?
people.
Sometimes just me. Sometimes that's just a solo session, especially if I'm sharing, if I'm sharing with my wife or something like that, we make a big one. I'm not going to make a big one. You guys can't egg me on peer pressure. I mean, yes, I did start smoking in the 7th grade because of peer pressure, but it's not going to work this time. I've grown up since then. New wave, Dave. I'm just kidding. Can you hear it? Doesn't really sound like anything.
I can't hear it.
Yeah, you can't really hear it.
I see it, though.
See the bag filling up?
Look at it go!
You see like the little vapor clouds forming in there?
It's like a hot air balloon.
Yeah, and it just swirls.
God. It's really fast.
Like swirling around. And like I said, there's no timer. So it's just like however big you want to make it, that's when you turn it off type of thing.
This is so cool.
I'm just going to, that's already too large of a bag. Too large of a bag.
Now, is it sealed when you take that off, or do you have to like hold it closed?
Yeah, it seals itself because there's a little attachment. Now, this is the Pro attachment, but see this little plunger? Mm-hmm. If I push this down.
Oh my goodness! How cute is that? Don't waste it.
I know.
Wait. Oh my goodness! You guys, are you seeing this? This is crazy. I really want to try that.
That is a beautiful tasting, completely not harsh. I mean, you get all of the aromas, you get all the flavors, and it's just a nice, like, smooth experience. 410 can be a little bit high. I know people go like 350, 360. Like, you can start really low, but you can also take it to like, I used to get the most out of it. I would start at a really low temperature. Like, I'd start at like 350. And then I do another one at like 4. And then I do another one at like 420. And then I do another, like I try to get the most out of it. Yeah. And you can kind of do that, but I don't know.
How do you know when it's done?
The quality, no vapor will really start appearing. The flavor will start being really, really bad. Kind of like the end of a coil head or something.
Gotcha.
It starts tasting not great. Not great.
I'm so impressed with this device. Nefarian, you're going to get us in trouble.
Great. Really great. Really delightful experience. I highly, highly recommend the Stores and Bickle Volcano. The only problem is this is you want to talk about vape budget hands? Talk about vape budget hands. I'm not even going to tell you. Just Google it.
Is it $200?
That's cute. That's adorable.
Is that $500?
There's a model for $475 or $450 that has the dial on it, but the digit is like it's like 7. Yeah, but listen, these things are made in Germany and they're basically designed to just run the rest of your life. This is like a buy it for life type of thing. Gotcha.
It's
German engineering. It's the last and only Volcano literally you will ever need. And I know Raulo in the chat, good question, Raulo, and I appreciate you asking that question. Is the PAX good or just hype? Here's the thing. The PAX is actually really, really good. My wife used it for a really long time. I used it for a very long time, and it's basically the same idea. It's got a little, what they call an oven in the bottom. It's a little rectangle. You set the temperature with an app on your phone. It'll heat up the oven to the correct temperature. It'll vibrate and let you know, and you kind of take a drag exactly like this, and it's vaporized flower. They're pretty expensive. But they do work really well, and you can kind of get 2 good sessions out of one oven. And I don't know, I feel like the PAX is really good. unless you have a really high tolerance, and then you might want to look into something like the Stores and Bickle Volcano.
Very fancy.
And here's the thing, that's it. And if you let the bag just sit, it'll kind of just die. Like if you don't vape all the vape out of there, like if you vape in your office, how it dissipates, the vape will just...
So there's a time limit on it. You got to fill it up and then use it.
There's a time limit on it.
Okay, gotcha.
So, and it's great. And, you know, back before COVID days, this was the alternative to passing a joint around in my apartment. It was like people could come over and we could
pass the volcano around.
Volcano around instead of
bag.
Pass the turkey bag, as they say.
I want one with like a smiley face on it. So like when it inflates, you get this little face that like, I feel like somebody makes that. I feel like someone makes that.
I'm sure you could find custom volcano turkey bags, custom volcano bags. We could make TBN custom branded, right? Turkey volcano bags. Right now. We're doing it. Book it, fund it. Let's do it. Yeah. It is expensive. What was that, Mr. Bonk? $710? Yeah, $710. Yeah, it's expensive, but this for me was just a matter of vape budget hands. James, my buddy James, who used to do Dot Mod, James and Ilea. You know James and Ilea. There was like a summer there. It was like a solid year where me and James were just good buds. Like he lived in LA and we just hung out all the time and we'd go ride roller coasters and we'd smoke a lot of weed and we were just real good buds. And I saw his Volcano. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, all right, I got to start saving $700 now because I will have a Volcano. I can't not have one. I just thought it was so cool. You will will it
into fruition.
I will will it into fruition. And it's because I wanted to stop smoking joints because that's all I did up until that point was just joint. And it's bad. It's bad for you. It takes its toll. So vaporize your THC, vaporize your cannabis, vaporize your nicotine, vaporize your life, vaporize it all. I mean, vape the world. Oh, look at that. My camera died. That's okay.
You're gone. It's just me.
And now we're swapped. And now I'm on my FaceTime camera, which is weird. It's weird and different. Anyway, so yeah, celebrate 420 safely. Celebrate 420 with some harm reduction in your life. Vaporize your cannabis. And there's the vape pens too that we talked about. The vape pens might not be as
I learned something interesting about
harm reduction-y as we kind of thought. So there's these types of vape pens out there, and if you want to talk about EVALI, these little fuckers are completely what stemmed EVALI in illegal states. People were making their own pens and cutting it with vitamin E. Hi, welcome to EVALI. Those pens are kind of what caused that. And what they do is heat up. It's a coil head that's it's almost identical to a nicotine coil head, except it's designed specifically to pass through really, really thick, oily distillate.
Right.
And it just heats up in the same way. So as far as what's happening when that oil distillate hits the warm coil, if that's vaporizing, if it's burning, I don't know. A little
unclear.
It's a little bit unclear to me. I've heard that people really like them because it's better and they like the vape pens, but that's not accurate calling them a vape pen because it's oil. So if it's hot enough, it's probably burning it. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. And then are we still
combusting? Yeah, are we like slightly less bad combusting? Where are we at? Yeah,
that's a scientific term, slightly less bad combusting, by the way.
I mean,
I've heard Stanton Glantz use it, so
I feel like that's accurate.
Speaking of old Glancy, God damn it.
Wrong way.
He's on the other side. I had this. Did you see I had the screenshot of you last week?
That is an amazing face that I'm making. By the way, wait, let me try. Let me try.
It's like,
that is very flattering. Oh, it's my old office, you guys. Which is better, old or new?
Definitely new.
X1 for old, X2 for new. Let me know. 100%. What do you think?
No, the only correct answer is the pimp new office, the pimp new Danielle TBN Studios office.
I'm gonna get some like LED lights like Nick has, so it's like, more better. But
So it's
so
cool
we got that like,
yep. Because everybody knows that's what makes a stream better is the lighting. Content right out the window.
If it looks good, you can get away with a lot.
Yeah, if it looks, I shouldn't have Glance up here. I feel like I'm losing subscribers when I put Stanton Glance up there.
Probably.
Stanton Glance, go away. Anyway, so that's going to bring us to the end here, unless there were any kind of super chats that came in.
You should check for those.
Christopher Murdoch said, yo, fellow shed timers. That's right. Absolutely. Shout out Frames Janklin Vapor for basically inventing the term shed time. I've adopted it. Yeah. I love it. I think it's a fantastic term, and I think everybody should be using it. So, yeah.
Hi, Frames.
Frames Janklin. Part-time Vapor says, Jones family housewarming gift looks nice. Jones family housewarming gift looks nice. Oh, yeah.
Moving awesome. Sucks, you guys.
Dude, it's never fun.
When has it ever been so fun? Hard?
Nobody's ever said vape. No one ever said, I was vaping, I was moving, I had a great time.
Yeah, no.
Said nobody ever.
Said no one ever.
But it was clearly worth it. So I love it. I think it looks awesome. And I'm stoked. And yeah, I think that's going to wrap up this here episode of TBN. Appreciate you guys coming out on this 420 to get mad at the LA City Attorney's Office to be cautiously skeptical and optimistic possibly about something that might have anonymously maybe come out of the Joe Biden administration regarding promoting vaping e-cigarettes. Who knows?
It's a lot of ifs.
It's a lot of ifs and a lot of anonymousness, and we don't know. Obviously, as we learn, we will do our absolute damn best to get you the best information that we possibly can. Anyway, wait, Part-Time Vapor had a really great question. Oh, no more trains.
No
trains are gone. The
I don't know if you guys just heard that, though, but they're doing work in the apartment above. I'm in an apartment now, not in a house. So they're doing work up there and a very loud thud. I don't know if my mic picked it up, but it scared me.
I didn't even hear it.
Okay, they're laying carpet up there, and it sounds like they're trying to break through the floor and come say hello.
I gotta love that feeling. Gotta love that apartment life. I miss that. Okay, one last super chat. Rodrigo says, hey there from a poor country, but supporting a better quality of life. Oh, Rodrigo, thank you so much, bro. You don't have to do that. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Better quality of life, vaporizing all around. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. I got too talky. It happened. The Volcano bag happened, and I'm like, let's talk, you guys. What you want to talk about?
What are we talking about?
We're going to go ahead and wrap this up so I can continue enjoying the rest of my 420. But thank you guys, seriously, so much for coming out, for being part of this, for being down for the cause. I know this gets a little bit disheartening, like week after week, hearing news like this, but I think it's important to try to remain as informed as possible because the good news is coming. The science is piling up. Vaping is going to save 1 billion lives, and flavors are going to help it. So thank you, Danielle Jones, for being the trooper, president of CASA. Follow her on Twitter, Rubber Ducky, you're the one. I'll have links down in the description. But one more time, thank you guys so much for coming out. Remember that literally, no matter what anybody tells you, vaping is at least 95%. Nicotine vaping is at least 95% less harmful for you than burning those deadly combustible tobacco cigarettes. So yeah, no matter what's in your hand, you guys, let's keep on vaping. Be excellent to each other, everybody. Peace.